Hey, I'm live. I'm live and I'm alive. Yeah. Oh, I gotta turn this thing. No, this way. There we go. Oh, maybe? Ah, I got too many lights on. Ugh, this is blinding. Hey, Big Rig. I got way too many lights on. Let me turn those off. Hold on a second, guys. Too many lights on. There. That'll be better. Won't be so blinding. There. Now I gotta just turn this. Maybe. And go like. Oh, God. Man, that light's in like the worst spot. Hold on a second, guys. I gotta make this better. Why? What's going on with Kyle? Is he stuck again somewhere? I'm gonna have to move my chair. There we go. Yeah. So now instead of the dojo side, you get the woodworking side. There you go. Oh my God. I gotta move again. Tell a ghost story. Oh, I got a good one, but no, I'm not talking ghost stories. I'm not late. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, Roy. 10 o'clock. And I got a Cuban today. So this one's a nice one. I paid full price for this Cuban. I didn't get it I didn't get it on an auction or anything like that. Oh, okay. He's got. Oh, don't even go there, Roy. Look, don't even go there. I put time aside tomorrow too to try to work on that, and that got quickly used up. Well, normally when I do the Friday night stream, I start around 10 o'clock, and I fell asleep last night, so I wasn't able to do it. I was gonna do it too, I just fell asleep. So, oh well. Now I wonder if I turn this whole thing. Hold a second. We gotta fix this. I don't like this. There. There we go. Ah, that stupid light. Okay. Oh my God. Driving me nuts. Do I have to stay to one side? I mean, really? Well, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do with this light. There. That's about the best we're gonna get it. Hey, Vicky. Oh, you deserve it, Vicky. You're working hard on your channel. Hey, Tammy. Thanks for stopping in. No, it's not a Honduran. It's a Cuban. I don't get too many of them, but I usually go after. I do bids on them at auction, but this one, I didn't win this one at an auction. Oh, you bring yours from Canada? Yeah. Well, my favorite Cuban cigars that I smoke are the Camachos. Big Rig, and I shared a couple of Camachos, and he'll tell you how good they are. You know, they're really nice, 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 smooth cigar. No, Sergeant, you're not first. Finally, no, no. Roy was in there. Yeah, Roy beat you. Bad. Yeah. Oh, Texas GT. I'm doing wonderful. Saturday night, went out to eat with the family tonight, and came back, and here I am. You know, I was gonna do a stream last night, but I damn friggin' I fell asleep, and I woke up at like 1:30 in the morning, and I hopped on Discord. No cigars for you tonight. This one I lucked out because normally when I buy Cubans, I have to buy them. I have to get them in auction. This one I actually lucked out. I was able to buy one. No, Big Rig. I'm actually trying to get a couple of things together. I was waiting. I still haven't gotten a hold of Jay because I was going to get another 5 of those Cubans because we went in on halves on an auction together. And I haven't been able to get to him. I'm not going to send it till I get the Cubans from him because, like I said, we went in on an auction together, and I got to get 5 Cubans from him, the Camachos. So I'm going to send you 2 of the Camachos with the package. That's why I'm waiting. I got to see him. I was hoping to see him this weekend, but Roy, don't even go there, dude. Really? Really? The buzz from a Cuban. Oh my God, yeah. He's out of state. Great. When's he coming back? Toxic. Yeah, because I know he's got them sitting in his humidor, and I got to get those off of him. So I was gonna wait till I get those, and then I have some electronics I'm gonna send up to Big Rig when he gets ready to do his podcast. I got a really cool sonic maximizer that's going to help the sound quality immensely. So, because I have 2 of them and I only need one in the studio, I'm going to send one up to him. Oh yeah, Big Rig. Oh, you can't see. I could sit here and talk cigars, and I could be like, this one's nice, that one's nice, but once you've had a Camacho, oh yeah, toxic. I want to see those pictures. I think I know where you're saying he is. Lucky. Anyway. No, no, Big Rig. Nothing does, man. Once you've smoked one of those, there's nothing that comes near it. Not even close. Really, Miko? You like those? They're the backwoods stogies, is what you're talking about. And they're like crudely rolled, and they're kind of frayed on either end. I know what you're talking about, Miko. I used to smoke those when I was younger, man. Hey, Tammy, thanks so much for stopping in. I really appreciate it. You're always a faithful friend. Yeah, man. I don't even want to get on the whole El Paso thing. I mean, I read the guy's manifesto. He's really into the Christchurch shooter in, I guess, Sweden or whatever the hell it was in, and he's into that guy and says he's right, and then he talks all about the weapon of choice for this and that, and it's like, look, these people aren't sick or deranged; they're evil. It's not like a mental illness to do something like that. They're evil. So I'm just not going to give the people the time of day. My prayers are for the ones in El Paso, and it sucks. Really? It was put out by 8chan? No kidding. Oh, Roy, thanks so much. I'm glad I didn't dwell on it much. Wow. I cannot believe that was faked. Thanks a lot, Roy. I'm glad you found that out. I didn't have a lot of time to get in on that. Like I said, I've been kind of busy all day long. No, best answer. Roy just said they found out that one was an 8chan fake. So that manifesto everyone has been going over is a fake. Hey, William, how's it going? Are you going live on Willie's Pub later on, man? I hope you're. I'm going to go hang out with you tonight. port wine with a cigar is my favorite. Oh my, there's nothing compares to port wine, or if I don't have port wine, a good bourbon. A good bourbon with a cigar is awesome. Yeah, I know, man. He's cool to have around. We had a good time. Yep, we had a good time hanging out, man. We're gonna have to do that again. Maybe Toxic and I can head up there. That'd be fun. Take a trip up there and see what the landscape up there in Minnesota looks like. Think that'd be pretty cool. Hey, Ian Bear, how's it going? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the 15th of this month coming around for a couple of things. I get to find out what the AdSense rate that I finally got up to is at, and if I broke the $100 mark. And the 15th of August is also when the new hunting licenses go on sale, and I can find out what the regulations are this year in my district and whether or not they're going to open up doe hunting for the whole season instead of just the first 3 weeks. So that'll be on the 15th. I might actually do a video just of that, you know, just so I can tell everybody if I'm going to be able to hunt. Yeah, super combo, man. Yeah, got to get it because we're going to be going dove hunting only 15 days after I get my license. Yeah, I was at Academy Sports this morning uh, because my son, because he got in a little bit of trouble uh, with his firearm as far as did something very egregiously wrong when we were shooting. I took his privileges away, and now we're starting all over again. Well, he has a Red Ryder BB gun that was worn out and busted, so I had to go get him a new one. So tomorrow morning we start back up on his training again, and he's pretty excited about it. Yeah, he yeah, he's doing okay though. Miko, my wife is my wife's a native Texan. I'm the transplant, and she hooked up with me to make sure she gets some venison, and I'm providing. Let me tell you something. Toxic masculinity has been schooling me up on the ways of um, Texas deer hunting for quite a few years now, and has got me pretty well going along there. He has been schooling me up on in the ways to do this here in Texas, and the proof is in the results. I'm getting, one or two deer every year, and my freezer is still packed with venison from last year. And I'll have it going right into this season, and we're gonna fill that freezer up again. I'm gonna see if I can keep up with Roy. Roy got three last year. I got two. I'm gonna see if I can get three this year at least. I would love to tag out. I'm just not into antlers. I don't hunt for trophy. It doesn't mean anything to me. It'd be nice to see some big bucks around there, but I don't hunt for trophy. I like doe. Best tasting meat out there. Oh yeah. Yeah. The ranch and farm that I use, the man, it was crappy. It was crappy when I first got there, and because I've kind of had the run of the place for the past, 5 or 6 years now. Yeah, I don't shoot young doe. I know that's what tastes the best, but I don't do that. I'd like to get a mature doe. The two doe I took last year, I would guess that one of them was 3 years and the other one was closer to 5 years old. I mean, Toxic will tell you that the first doe I got last year was so big I couldn't get it in the back of my truck. I couldn't deadlift it in the back of my truck. I had to gut it to drop it down 30 pounds just to get it in the back of the truck. Yeah, you got that right, toxic masculinity. Yeah. Man, he comes down to my hunting area and helped me clear a lot of brush over the early in the springtime. It wasn't too hot when we did it. It was still pretty hot, but and I got to go up there again and make sure. I haven't been there, and I can't believe it's been as long as it's been since I've been on the farm. But I got to go back there and really, really clear some brush away. And I got some that it's covering up the view of my field a little bit that I shoot into. So I want to make sure I have clear shooting paths. So, but I've got the deer figured out. They run in sequence in time. There's certain times I know when certain groups that are going to go through there. They come in packs. Big Rig, don't rub it in too much, buddy. You're gonna want him to take you hunting again when he comes down here. Man, hogs on that place are hit and miss. There'll be times we go out there, don't see anything for hogs, not coyote. We always see coyote. I don't know what the hell happened last time, but hogs are kind of a hit and miss. And when we went out there, I mean, like I said, we've driven into a pack of them where there's like freaking they're running everywhere. You don't know which way to shoot. Your OODA loop's all messed up. Miko, too bad you weren't down here, man. Wild hog meat. I mean, I love venison. Don't get me wrong. I love venison. But man, if I had my choice, if I had a rack of ribs from a wild hog or a roast, and then I had some backstrap, I'm like, oh, that would be a tough one for me. I mean, I love venison. Don't get me wrong, and backstraps from a doe are just mouth watering. But a good wild hog, a good sow, oh my god. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. I've never roasted a whole hog, like, the whole rotisserie thing. I haven't done that yet. I would love to do that. And when I do finally do that, it's going to be a smaller hog. I'm not going to put no 250-pound sow on that thing. It's going to be, like that 125-pounder tops. And that, yeah. Oh, you better believe it. William, gator tail is probably one of my favorites. And when my wife and I go to a Cajun restaurant, that's the first thing we order. It's one of my wife's favorites is gator tail. And they're opening up hunting in Texas for gator. You can get a tag for it now. I just, I don't, I you can't hunt gator in the county that I'm in. Well, you can talk smack. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I really wish she was able to get up to the cabin, but man, everything that happened to me that week kind of screwed everything up. Getting the news about my daughter and all that, that really, really messed up my week, and it kind of screwed everything up. And Roy and I were supposed to, or Big Rig and I were supposed to go on my live stream on that Thursday, and I didn't even stream. It was just really messed up. And then I didn't even want to go that night, but you freaking guys made me. It's all toxic masculinity's fault. Yeah, I know it's God's plan. I know, Big Rig, but I know how dare I confuse the two of you. We're always talking together. It's not hard, okay? I was gonna say that, Roy. You beat me to it, man. Yeah, the wild hogs, they're not indigenous here. Nope. Someone brought them in. And I mean, they do a lot of damage. I just wish we had more people that hunted them. If more people would hunt them, we could probably get them as well under control as we do the coyotes. But the more and more we encroach on their areas, by building these stupid housing developments, because we got too many freaking Californians coming in here, guarding the wrong damn river. So anyway, another story. But you know, we're encroaching on their area, so we're pushing them into the farms, and they're into people's backyards. They're doing a lot of damage. No, they never had horses here until we brought them over. No, no, yeah, yeah, we're guarding the wrong damn river. Yeah, yeah, we need to be guarding the Red River. You guys want to know where? Yo, Roy, we went there. You guys want to know where I think we should build a wall? It's on the Red River. Yeah, and we just trebuchet them. You don't pass the vetting process. I love people. If you're going to come here and you're going to pass the vetting process to become a Texan, then you're welcome. Come on in. Come on in. We need more of you. But if you're going to come in here and bring your leftist wine and crap over from California, and we'll just put you in a trebuchet and shoot you back across. By all means, if this bothers you, give me a thumbs down. Yeah, if this bothers you, I really don't. Trebuchet is an awesome word. I have this great sound effect that I used to just before the election was finalized here in Texas. I had the sound of trebuchet with a person screaming, getting tossed out of it, and we used to play that. Hey, you want to throw this person out of the state? Yeah, we'd put them in the trebuchet and woof, launch them out, and you'd hear them screaming. Then you'd hear the splat mark as they landed on the other side of the Red River. It's nice tonight. I have a little more light out here. I can see things. It wasn't like last week where I couldn't see a damn thing out there. I know a lot of people figured because I didn't go live last night that it was like, oh, he's not going to go live on Fridays anymore. And no, I just fell asleep. That was why I didn't go live last night. Fell asleep, woke up at 1:30, and I was like, nah, too late. Yeah, we fought for our independence too. I say like I'm a Texan. I'm a transplant, guys. I'm not a Texan. I came here 20 years ago, but I embraced everything. Are you kidding me, William? You got swatted last night. Man, that's 4 times in 1 year. What the hell's going on, William? I mean, I know you got people that hate you, but I thought, just when you think that you're hated the most, man, William, you prove me wrong, brother. Hey guys, if you like hanging out in a bar and talking to a bartender, go to William Worthington. It's called Willie's Pub, but just check on his name. Go subscribe to him. It's just like hanging out in a bar and talking to a bartender. It's friggin' awesome. He has one of the best streams for phone calls. I mean, I am so entertained by the way he talks to the trolls. I'm going to have to check it out. Helicopters, police, and fire department all over the place. Are you kidding me? Were you trying to outdo me, Willie? Willie, come on, man. You outdoing me now? Oh, Willie rages are awesome when he gets. I love it when a troll calls him and tries to take over the conversation, and the way he shuts them down. I am in my studio listening, rolling on the floor, laughing my ass off. It has got to be the funniest thing. William, I bow to you, brother. I bow to you because of the way you handle the trolls. I mean, I'm just dying laughing, and I can't believe that happened to you, man. 4 times in 1 year. Someone called in a fire, huh? He had helicopters. Man, I missed. This is what happens when I fall asleep on a Friday night. What is it? Because I didn't stream last night, they decided to take it out on you? I'm gonna have to go look at that now. I don't want to get swatted again. Who the hell wants that? Saucin, how's it going? Yeah, I know your first three wasn't a big deal. They just knocked at the door and talked to you. Man, I'm gonna have to go look at that, William. That's just nuts. That's crazy. Mine happened an hour and a half into my live stream. Yeah, every time a car drives by, I think I'm looking to see what the hell it is. I wouldn't be surprised if they drove by and waved to me tonight to say hi, see if I'm okay. Yeah, four of them. That's crazy. I'm never okay, Storms. This is true. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm really liking this cigar. This isn't like the Camachos. Nothing is. Nothing is like the Camachos. But this isn't a bad one. You know? Not a bad one. Good. It's thick as all hell, I'll tell you that. This is one fat cigar. I even have one of my pipes out, so I'm not throwing this thing out. So, this is one of my homemade pipes. In case you didn't know, yes. This is one of the other things that you can't really see it. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Let me take this wrapper off. No, Norkel. No, sorry. Sorry to disappoint you. I don't smoke that stuff. I don't care if anybody else does. I don't. Nope. I got no place for it in my life. You know, to each his own. If it's illegal in your state and you want to smoke that stuff, that's up to you. I just don't do it. Nope, it's not legal in Texas, and if it was, I still wouldn't be smoking it. That stuff might make the Jufro fall off. No, no, this isn't a Jufro, guys. This is a Jullet, okay? That is a Jullet, okay? It is a Jewish mullet, and it's not that long in the back anymore. It's growing out. I have to cut it, but it's not that long. Well, I mean, I understand that there's a lot of research going into the medicinal purposes, the use for it, and a lot of it is being, you know, pretty positive results, and that's fine. You know, it just, yeah. Hey, Pink, glad you could stop in. I've seen you in here maybe once before. I could be wrong, but thanks for stopping in. Everybody, there's another channel. Go check out Pink Camera Magic. She's pretty good. Good stuff on her channel. Go check it out if you haven't checked out her stuff. Like I said, guys, there's few people in the activist community that I support. She's one of them. Okay? Very few that I think actually want to make a change, and I don't support hardly any of them anymore. She's one of them I do. You know, a lot of people don't understand why I support New England Truth also, because he's gotten a little boisterous, and I've told him, I'm like, dang it, man, what are you doing? That was awesome right up until you did that. But see, I support New England Truth because he truly wants to make a change. He wants to fix this thing. And that's why we talk. That's why I support him so much. Because he really, really looks at himself and he's like, damn, I screwed up. He's like, damn it, I screwed up. And he tries to fix it and he tries to be a better person. Hey, Calvin. Pink, you're awesome. Okay? So, yeah, if that means a lot, that's cool coming from me. A lot of people don't think that means anything coming from me, but I like your stuff. I get a lot of ribbing because there's certain ones I support and certain ones I don't. I've unsubbed so many of them in the last 2 weeks. I just can't support it anymore. But if you're honestly out there and you want to make a change, I got your back. I got your back. If you want to fix this thing, I got your back. That's all. Oh God, really toxic. You're going to bring up the Cowboys, man. Look, I'll be happy if they don't get as many convictions this year. I'll be happy if the Cowboys don't get as many convictions. No, you don't hear a sign, Calvin. You're bad. You're bad. But you see, you guys, I'm looking every time a car pulls up because this time I am not walking out with this cigar. I'm gonna put it down over here so I can have it later. That's the only thing that ticked me off about that, other than the idiot that called, is I had to friggin' put out a perfectly good cigar. I was trying to finish it before I got cuffed. I was trying. Yeah, we're getting our, speaking of the football season, we're getting our fantasy football group going. I think we're one short right now because we're kind of picky on who we have in our fantasy football league. So, yep, I think we're one short right now. But we had a great time last year. There was more trash talking going on during fantasy football last year. It was greatness. I loved it. Oh, thank you, Sergeant. Oh, by the way, Sergeant, I am going to be releasing a new mug, and it's for the I Want My Rib Back fight night. So you're going to be able to get that logo on your mug, on a sticker, and I'm gonna see about putting it on a shirt. Here's the other thing about the I Want My Rib Back fight night that I'm kind of looking forward to it because what's going to happen is when we finally have a championship and someone wins an actual championship and I Want My Rib Back, you're going to get a special gift that says I Want My Rib Back champion, world champion, okay? You're going to get a special gift that says you won a championship. And that'll be my gift for you guys that have really supported that because we have a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a world championship because we're the only one that does it, and by God, Texas is the center of this known universe. Central Standard Time, baby, the only time zone that matters. Texas time, okay? We are the center of the universe. Look, look, guys. Yeah, center of the universe on why men are better than women. Well, I don't know about that one. That's the whole purpose of the fight. But I'm just saying the whole reason we want our rib back is Eve really screwed us over, guys. Really screwed us over. Yeah, that's why it's central, baby. I love teasing people about that. Every time someone asks me what time the show starts, I say, look, it's always the same time. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, center of the universe. Now, there's no call. Look, guys, I'm on my phone. I'm in my garage. Of course, there's no call-ins. I'm not in the studio. Once a week, I like to do one from my garage. And then Wednesdays, I do one from the truck in the middle of the day. So those are the nights, no call-ins. Nope. No, I can't take a call on the phone while I'm doing this. I would have to have another phone next to it and put it on speakerphone. I don't know if Big Rig had a Whataburger while he was here. I would hope that he did. Oh no, it's not serious. Our fight night is not serious, guys. There's no bad blood. There's a lot of riffing, a lot of teasing. That's all. Oh, Storms, really? Oh, don't even go there, Storms. No, don't even go there. No, no, don't even say that. Oh, that's sacrilege. No, no. In and Out is not better than Whataburger. Are you insane? I, I had respect for you, Storms. I really had respect for you. I did. I up until now. It's done. Whatever friendship there was between the Storms, it's done now. Okay. That's awful. I can't believe. No, don't give me the whole BS thing. No, no, it's that's awful. That's awful. You said that. Oh, just, my heart it just aches right now. How dare you? I can't have Whataburger, but I remember when I could. Matter of fact, one of the best things that ever happened when I was doing a ride along a couple of years back, stopped in at Whataburger to have lunch on the shift that I was riding with. That that was awesome. It's definitely no. What are you telling me? I should name this stream that I do on the weekends? 5150. Is that it? Is that what I should do? Yeah, yeah. Your fight nights were awesome. That was the real fight night. So that wasn't like what I do. You know, when we just argue on the phone or on video. Nah, nah. Toxic masculinity. When we did the fight nights, those were real fight nights, guys. We'd do 2 hours of fighting, hour and a half with gloves on, and the last 30 minutes we took the gloves off. I remember one of the first times Toxic and I got in the ring. We're about the same size, same height, same weight. Busted my nose, just bent it over to one side, and put it back into place. I heard it clicking and clacking until he got it into place, and then we we went back and we started fighting again. I think we did 3 more rounds after he set my nose back into place. I think the best shots I ever got on Toxic was I got a couple of good reverse punches in on him, but that was about it. I popped his ribs a couple of times. Yeah. Oh, dude. See, that was the awesome thing. We used to do the Friday nights, and we would beat the living dog snot out of us. Then we'd, close up the cuts and ice our bruises and head over. And then we would break bread and do Shabbat. The whole group, we would go over, and I would have the bread and the wine, and we would do Shabbat at this Chinese restaurant. And I think the owners and the people there didn't know what to think of it because we would do that, and we would close the place. They'd be throwing us out at like 1 o'clock in the morning, be pushing us out the door because we just get going on our conversations. I mean, those are memories that will stay with me forever. I'll be telling those stories to my grandchildren, you know? Marital arts and martial arts are very close, guys. Just saying. Especially when you marry a black belt like I did. My wife's a second-degree black belt. Fish bait. We'd have squid if that's what you're talking about, yeah. Well, Andrew, that means you're doing it right. Okay? If one of you is getting hurt every time, you're going to improve. You're doing it right. If you are fighting and someone isn't getting popped. Oh, sushi? Yeah. Yeah, I would have sushi. No, man. I am so looking forward to the fights that are coming up. September 7th, I believe. Second Saturday in September. Toxic Masculinity's brother is doing a fight, which I'm really excited about. We're gonna go see it. Oh, you can hear the train in the background? Yeah. You know, we got one that runs right through the center of town here. You can enter the asylum together. No, no, believe me. When the tornado hit down at the end of the road over here, I think it was the year before last. Yeah, 2 years ago. It was about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and the sirens went off, and I heard it, and I could hear the tornado sirens. And normally it's because a funnel cloud has started over us, but they usually when they hit about um, 5 miles to 6 miles southwest of here, and when we hear the sirens go off, we just know one's close. So all of a sudden, I heard the train, and I'm like, wait a second. Normally, I hear the horn. I don't hear you can hear the horn, guys, but normally I don't hear the train, the actual trussels, like hitting the trussels, that noise it makes. So when that happened, I heard that, and I'm like, that train's awfully loud tonight. And then it got real close, and I said, that's not a train. So I woke everybody up, and we got into the bathroom and huddled in the bathtub basically until it went by. But it whacked a house at the end of the road, took the roof off 2 houses, and took a couple of trees down. But yeah, if I had zero training and my wife at the same, yeah, my wife would. Let me tell you something. My wife, she's got one of the scariest kicks I've ever seen out of a female in my life, and it hurts like hell when she gets you in the leg with it. Just hurts like hell. She's got that Texas Taekwondo kick, and it had such pop to it and such speed. It just wrecked you when it hit. And I was watching her fold 100 pound Muay Thai bag, just fold it in half, and she hit me and with it and a couple of my students. She hit one of my students, weighed 250 pounds, and one shot he could barely walk. He's dragging his leg. Yeah, she's just got a really nasty kick. Not so much with the punching. Her style of Taekwondo didn't emphasize the punching as much, but her kicks were there. I really, really wish she had continued. She trained for about 17 years, made second degree black belt, and I really, really wish she had continued. But you know, she once she had kids, she kind of stopped. Well, it depends on the type of Taekwondo. If you study a Texas Taekwondo, a true Texas Taekwondo, you're gonna get a good, well-rounded fighter that you don't want to mess with. But there are some taekwondos that lean a little bit. I mean, if she ever heard me say WTF Taekwondo, she'd shoot me. Okay, but I mean, the teacher really really was teaching more WTF to the females, which I didn't understand why. You should have taught them hard punches, and she could throw a punch, but I mean, she would have to really pick out um, the nerve centers and stuff to make it hurt. Well, yeah, that's the WTF. They don't count hardly anything for a punch. It's just ridiculous. You can hit the guy all day long, and they won't even try to block it because it's not going to score, which hurts them in a real fight because they're not used to punches. They're not used to getting punched. So as soon as someone gets inside their kicks, they're done. A WTF Taekwondo guy, if you get inside their kicks and they don't know what they're doing, they're done for. They're done for because they are strictly Olympic style tournament fighter. Great kicks, don't get me wrong. Great, great, great kicks. Well, there's a reason why kicking was a tradition, Andrew. You have to understand. A lot of the Taekwondo in Korea, they took uh, they took a lot from Shotokan, but not as much as people think. But they were fighting people on horseback in Korea, so a lot of the aerial kicks were meant to knock a person off of a horse. Now you got to understand too. That's why the kicks are so telegraphed because a person on a horse doesn't have the dexterity as much to get out of the way. So these guys would run on a ledge or something, jump off the ledge, do a flying side kick, knock a guy off a horse. That's all the kicks were used for. That's why a lot of the aerial kicks happen. Dude, Texas Taekwondo, all Tex, and we call it Taekwondo, and toxic masculinity would say it best. Taekwondo is basically they train so hard with different styles because of the open fight class. You would have every different style you can imagine that would come in there and fight. And after a while, it all looked the same because you only used what worked. Taekwondo guys and the Okinawan squat and punchers and the Japanese style, they all look the same after a while. They all look the same because you only used what worked. But because the Texas fighters would bring in fighters from other systems and they weren't scared, they wanted to fight people from everywhere. What they would do is if something worked, they'd be like, hey, how did you do that? And they would show you. And then if you did something against them they liked, they would ask, hey, how do you do that? And then you would show them. And it was this big co-op, this sharing of information. And that's what made Texas such an amazingly strong fighting group. The Texas fighters were renowned for that. And you have someone like Guy Metzger, who's a Texas fighter, that ends up going to the UFC, and he was doing fantastic. He went to Pride. He was knocking people out. But people get old. People get old, and Guy Metzger started taking too many hits as he was getting older, and that's what happens. And then he's not able to do it anymore. So, but geez, Guy Metzger, toxic masculinity grew up fighting Guy Metzger. I mean, when they were, when they were teenagers, toxic masculinity would 5-0 him and take him right out of a tournament. And if it wasn't for the fact that he blew his knee out with kickboxing, he probably would have gone on to a much more famous, kickboxer than he was. Don't even bring up Steven Seagal. Texas guys, some of the fighters I know, would Steven Seagal is a joke. And not just hearsay. It's not just talk. Yeah, if you want to know how good Steven Seagal is, ask Gene LeBell. Ask Gene LeBell how good Steven Seagal is. Okay? Ask guys like Jim Harrison how good they think Steven Seagal is. These are the people that called him out to his face. I mean, Jim Harrison calls him Stephanie. Yeah, he was choked out by Gene LeBell twice. He got the trifecta out of Steven Seagal too. Steven Seagal was snoring, and he was foaming, and he brown stained himself. Yeah, Chuck Norris was the real deal. You got to go back and look at his old fights. Chuck Norris was a bare knuckle fighter, guys. I got video of him fighting. Oh God, I'm trying to remember. Oh, so one guy that tried to do a flying sidekick against him, and he folded this guy in half. All Norris did was just sidestep him and fold him in half. And these were good, top-notch fighters. Don't even bring up Bruce Lee. Look, Bruce Lee would have been a really good fighter. Would have been a great fighter, but he couldn't get hit because of the movies. But Bruce Lee got his ass handed to him more times behind dojo walls than you can imagine. He would come to the fight classes in Texas. Bruce Lee would come to the fight classes in Texas and become a spectator. He wouldn't get in the ring. He would become a spectator. Toxic's bringing up some names like Roy Corbin. Oh, God, Roy Corbin. One of the greatest fighters ever. Steven Seagal made good movies. That's what he made. He made good movies. I'll give him that. But he avoided tournaments. He avoided putting his money where his mouth was. I don't know how this got on martial arts, but it did. I think it's Andrew's fault. Andrew brought up martial arts. Guys, I don't fight much anymore. I'm 52 years old. I still like to, but I don't fight like I used to. Yeah, I pretty much retired from tournament fighting about 9, 10 years. I think my last fight was, I was 42 in my last fight. Yeah, so it's been about 10 years. Before I was, I mean, that one was in an octagon cage. I mean, that was an MMA match. But guys, if you're talking about me going up against one of these young bucks today that's in the ring, I don't know about that. I couldn't do it today. Not in the ring. Nah. So what do you think I'm lying about, Nigel? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about. I never said any. Who's Root? Guys, like I said, I'm 52 years old. I don't fight in the ring anymore. I I fought for years from the time I was 13 years old all the way up until I was 42. I ain't got nothing else to prove. When I came to Texas, first thing I did was do some kickboxing matches. Yeah, street fighting's different. A lot of the MMA guys, they can fight, but as soon as there's no rules, it's look, when no rules enter the scenario, it changes a lot. It changes a lot, guys. When you're fighting for your life, it changes everything. Trust me, I'm 52 and I got quite a few tricks up my sleeves. Okay? Race War, I have video of my fights on my channel. If you guys want to sit here and try to tell me I didn't, why don't you just go look at my fights? I've got one continuous contact fight on my channel, and I got one that was a full contact match. And yeah, both of those didn't end well for the other guy. The one that was a full contact match, I was actually fighting a friend of mine, and I broke his arm. End of fight. So if you think cameras didn't exist when I was fighting, you haven't looked through my channel. So I mean, I love keyboard warriors that want to tell me I'm not who I say I am. That just makes me laugh. I've been doing this for a long time. I ain't got nothing else to prove. You're the MMA fighter? Oh, okay. Yeah, I had one of those matches. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I got one before I got too old. That was my last fight, was an MMA match, because originally when I was up in Rhode Island back, UFC 10 was originally scheduled to come to Rhode Island, and I was all set to be an alternate in it because they were still doing the tournament style. And what happened was they outlawed it in Rhode Island, and it ended up moving to Arizona, and I couldn't travel at the time to Arizona. But yeah, I had all my paperwork in. I was all registered, ready to go. I was going to be an alternate in UFC 10. Oh well, it didn't happen. And the thing is, MMA got so popular, and I went back to training and still doing just kickboxing and full contact fights. And before I got too old, I'm like, look, I got to get at least one MMA fight in before I get too old. So I did that. No, a lot of MMA fights don't come near. They don't work in the street. A lot of them don't. Street fight is not pretty. It's very basic, very crude. It's nothing like the ring. And many MMA guys got into a street fight and got their butts kicked, and some of them did really well in the street. Don't get me wrong, but look at oh God, I'm trying to remember his name. I was actually when I was scheduled to be an alternate in UFC 10, I was gonna fight either. Oh God, I think I've been hit too many times in the head. My memory, Daddy Goodridge, and oh, who the hell was the other guy? Oh God, my brain is fried tonight. I think it's the cigar. Now, Big Daddy Goodridge was more my style of fighter. He was straight up brawler. I would have done better against him if I don't know if I could have won. I don't know, but I can't remember the other guy's name now. The other guy was a wrestler. I don't think I could. I didn't have enough ground experience at the time because I'd only had about 6 months in BJJ at the time. It was very new, and I don't think I could have beaten him. But a lot of those guys that everyone thought was undefeated got into one street fight and got themselves knocked out cold, and they're on video too. You can see them getting knocked out. But it's funny because you see the earlier days of the UFC, and no, it wasn't Kimbo. He didn't enter the UFC until much later. But it what happened was you saw all the different styles, and what happened, and you could see this throughout the years happen with MMA, is it all melted in together, and they started all looking the same. Now there was no weight classes back then, not like it is now. It's the only way they could get it sanctioned is to have weight classes. Kimbo was a good puncher, but he had no legs. By the time he got into the ring, he had no legs. Well, yeah, Toxic, that's because when I did sports radio, I interviewed a lot of them. And I was at ringside, you know. I was at ringside. I commentated their fights, so I did that. So I met a lot of them. I trained with a lot of them, so yeah, me and Toxic are on a first name basis with a lot of the legends. I worked for Norris for 2 years at the WCL. I was a media guy for him. I did ringside commentary for him. Matter of fact, you can go online and look at the earlier WCL footage. Go find one from the Mohegan Sun Casino, and you will see the camera panning around. You'll see me at ringside at the WCL. I've showed a lot of guys in Discord and Hangouts the video footage of me. Yeah, I did that. That's how me and Toxic met. I was doing my radio, and I was interviewing his dad for being inducted into the Texas Martial Arts Hall of Fame. And now I'm on the board of directors for the Texas Martial Arts Hall of Fame. Yeah. Yeah, it was more than one fight in a night, Fred. That's why they had to survive the fight enough to be able to fight again. You guys, Chuck Norris is a really good man. It was guys like him and Pat Burleson that really, 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 really helped me get started. I interviewed Pat Burleson on my radio show, and he said, "Steve, I really, really like what you're doing here. Let me make a couple of phone calls with you." And within 2 weeks, I was on the phone with Mike Norris, his son, Mike Norris, and they flew me out to. I did one event here in Texas, the very first WCL, and then they flew me out to their events over at the Mohegan Sun. And when Chuck Norris flew me out, it was the only time I ever flew first class. It was great. I felt like he treated me like gold. Chuck is a great guy. Chuck is a great guy. And he's the only guy I haven't interviewed. He just doesn't do interviews, not much. It's really tough to get an interview with him, but he's a great guy. If he likes what you're doing, if you're trying to promote martial arts and he likes what you're doing and you know the right people, I hate to say that, you know the right people, he'll help you out. And he springboarded my radio career. Yeah, it's funny, when I did that back then, I did not have the jollet. It was cut very, very short. But you see the goatee. There's no mistake in this ugly mug, guys. So yeah, you'll see me at ringside. I was wearing the one that's on. It was on Versus for the WCL, and you'll see me because I always wore a green polo. That was my attire because I had my radio show name on the back of it. And I think the best one I did at ringside though was here at the American Airlines Center was the first Art of War, and Pedro Hizzo was doing the World Championship fight. And back then, Bruce Buffer didn't have an exclusive contract with the WCL, so he was doing ring announcing for a lot of different things. So that's where I met Bruce Buffer. And Bruce Buffer and I became friends. If you guys notice, go back through my shows. I've interviewed him before on this show. Okay? And when I was on radio, I interviewed him before too. I've interviewed him 3 times. Once we hung out at ringside, and that's when I met him. We've been friends ever since. Anytime I've asked him to be on the show. Matter of fact, he was heading to a poker tournament one time. And I called him and I said, "Hey, you got a few minutes?" And yeah, he did it. He did an interview with me on his car on the way to the poker tournament. But the most recent one, it was kind of cool. The most recent one, when I contacted him, because we had scheduled time to do the interview, which was kind of cool. I could hear the voices in the background. He had a house full of people, and he's like, "Steve, let me go into the office. We'll do the interview in there." And I could hear Dana White and Joe Rogan in the background. It's hard to mistake in their voices. So he told Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like, "Where you going?" He goes, "Hey, I got to do this interview with Steve Pinder." And Joe goes, "Steve who?" I thought that was funny. Yeah. Like I said, when I did radio and martial arts, I met some of the greatest people. Man, I was able to interview Joe Louis before he passed away, and man, and got a chance to work out with him too, and that was as cool as it gets. Man, talk about a crazy guy. Not not the most personable guy in the world. I'll say that. He knew it too, but he was just a man full of knowledge. You lost the signal? Oh, thanks, Toxic. I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, being where I was in radio, getting a chance to work out with a lot of guys. Oh, is that towards me, Race War? You calling me a fake tough guy? Okay, sure. With all the years that I've been training, I can't begin to tell you how many times I heard that. Yeah. Guys, I don't have to back up anything. The proof is exactly what I did. And there are people in Texas that are legends that know me and know what I did. And I have video to back it up, so you can say everything you want. I really don't. You mean not much to me, when you're sitting here. I'm not over here saying that I'm tougher than anybody. I'm just telling you, hey, this is what I did. This is what I did. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I have video. I know what I did. A lot of people were there when I did it. I wasn't a world champion, although I did win the Rhode Island State Full Contact Karate Championship twice. I did it 2 years in a row. And truth be told, that was probably a lot of people in Rhode Island. I mean, there's had to be 1,000 schools in Rhode Island. Small state, there was a school on every corner. But a lot of them didn't like full contact. So, I mean, there wasn't a lot of, I'll say this, there wasn't a lot of competition, but I won it. I won it 2 years in a row in Rhode Island. And that was in the mid to late 90s. I think it was 95 and 96. I took home the gold medal in Rhode Island for that. And that was at the Ocean State Games. It was like an Olympic style competition they had in there because they had all different things. Small tree casting a big shadow. Wow. Did something I say threaten you enough to feel this way? Because I'm not over here boasting anything. I'm just telling you this is what I did. It can all be verified, and you seem to be all butthurt about it. Well, you can continue being butthurt about it because I don't know you. I don't care too much about you. But if you mention my name to any of the legends in Texas, they're going to know me. That's the funny part. That's the funny part. I've never heard of you. What's your fight name? What's your real name? I'm not hiding me. My name's right on the show. I'm not hiding who I am. You're the one that's hiding who you are. I'm the one that's telling you go to any of the legends here in Texas and they'll know me. Well, that's toxic. Yeah, I don't. It's not even worth it. It's like I said, I don't have to. I'm the one that went to fight classes and fought bare knuckle with anybody that would go in. I'm not saying I cleaned the floor with everybody. I held my own. And holding your own in Texas is pretty damn good because we got some damn good fighters here. Damn good fighters. Fighters that are way friggin' better than me, I'll tell you that. Toxic's one of them. I learned so much from fighting him and his brother. Holy cow. Those guys, everything that I didn't learn up north fighting, I learned down here in Texas. I'll tell you that they took everything. I had a lot of basic stuff in my quiver, but what they did to that was they expanded it and they made me a better fighter. Yeah, that was the best thing. Let me tell you something. When you do bare knuckle fighting, it changes the way you fight because you start using your technique. It's not a scrap and brawl anymore. You use a technique because when you get hit, it hurts. So you don't want to get hit because. And I'm gonna use it toxic. I'm gonna use the quote from your dad. Pain is self-correcting. When something hurts, you don't want to get hit by it again. Oh my God, Ray McCollum, five-time world champ. I believe it's five-time world champion. He is the adopted uncle of my son. My son calls him Uncle Ray. Okay? I got pictures at fight class with Ray holding my son in his arms because my son learned how to walk on Toxic's dojo floor. Okay? In between fights, he was out there trying to walk. Okay? So, man, getting a chance to train with Ray McCollum, Grandmaster Ray McCollum, oh my God, what a great guy he is, too. Absolutely loved fighting with him. I think the problem with martial arts today is they don't know the legends that paved the way for them. Sorry, guys, I'm just lighting this again. Dark tobacco goes out. Nothing like a blowtorch. You learned on a Greyhound bus. Ozark, I'm sorry, man. I was talking so much and you stopped in here. Thank you so much for stopping in, Ozark. I hope you're feeling good today. I know things have been tough lately. I hope you're feeling a lot better. I like the fact that you're coming into my stream a lot, man. I love the support that you're giving me and how you've helped me out here, with getting the word out about the stream. I appreciate it, brother. You're a great guy. I don't know too many people like you. Same to you, Ozark. You're like a brother to me, man. Yeah, Raymond is won every tournament anywhere in the face of the earth that man has traveled and won them. The guy is phenomenal. He's got more heart in the ring. I saw Ray in a kickboxing match get pushed through the rope, not hit. He got pushed through the rope, and he fell, did a flip out of the ring, and hit his head on the concrete floor. Got up, went back in the ring, and knocked the guy out. They don't make them tough like that anymore. They don't make them like that anymore. Freaking guy is awesome. And my son will never forget him. Fred, that's funny. It was funny. We were at Pat Burleson's 75th birthday party. It was a big event. We were all there. And a lot of people had bought tickets to come to this event that, didn't know a lot of people in martial arts. And the funniest thing happened in the line. Gavin was maybe 2 years old. He was about the age of my youngest son right now. And he was maybe 2 years old. And I had him in my arms. And we're in line getting into the place. And someone said, "Hey, is that Ray McCollum?" I'm like, "Yeah, that is Ray." And they're like, "Oh, I hope I get a chance to meet him." I'm like, "Oh, you want to meet him?" So I go to my son. I said, "Look, Uncle Ray." And my son yells out, "Uncle Way, Uncle Way." And Ray stopped what he was doing, walked over, grabbed my son out of my arms, and my son just put his arms around him, and he walked my son all around, introducing him to all the legends that were there. And the guy turned around, looked at me, and he goes, "Uncle Ray?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he kind of adopted my son." He says it's adopted uncle. That's why I love those guys. They're just, it's funny too because they don't, unless you've earned their respect by getting in the ring, and that's why I earned Ray's respect, because when we did fight class and it was like he'd come over to you and be like, "Come on, let's fight," you just jump in the ring and fight him, and it don't matter how hard you get hit by him, because let me tell you something, he can hit like a freight train still, and no matter how hard you get hit by him, you still fight. You just fight him, and if you do that, he respects you, and yeah, and he helped me get better. My God, how can you not fight Ray McCollum and not get better? I can't even understand how anybody could fight him and not get better. Because he would sit down and say, "Okay, you did this right, you did that right." Because a lot of time, because I was traditionally an Okinawan stylist, I fought very flat-footed. I was on my heel a lot because that's how Okinawans fought. We were a reactive fighter. We were a defensive fighter. We weren't offensive, which is counter to what Texans fought like. So he taught me how to be a little more forward in my fighting, along with Toxic and his brother. They taught me to get off my heel, and taught me how to fight on the balls of my feet a little more. And doing that, I was a lot looser, you know. It's funny, these cigar streams. When I do these on the weekend, this thing keeps on going out of focus because I bring that up to it. So when I do these streams out of my garage, you never can tell what the subject's going to be. Like last weekend, of course, with everything that happened. But before, we were talking about religion, and it got on that. And that's what I like my garage streams, because you never know what we're going to talk about. I think it was Andrew, brought up martial arts, so yeah, you Toxic. I'm not a squat and puncher anymore. You know this, you bastard. You know that. I did not have those low stances. No, my style from Okinawa Shorin-ryu did not have low stances. But nevertheless, Toxic called me a squat and puncher. Yeah, Ozark, he told me when he came in here, I'm going to have to go look at that video. That's the fourth time he's been swatted this year. Fourth time. Well, I mean, they just taught me how to punch coming forward, and that wasn't an Okinawan way. Okinawan way was a counter. Someone punch, I either meet whatever they're coming in, I meet them halfway, disrupt their balance, and then throw a hit, a strike or something, and it's not. You have to be able to do both. You have to be an offensive and a defensive fighter. It's better to make someone else react to you than you react to them, because action is much faster than reaction. I don't know too many people that can block four things in a row. It's easy to block one and two things, but if you're a reactive fighter, if I'm causing you to react, well, it's the first two things that set up the third and the fourth thing, and the third and the fourth thing is going to hit you. And if you can throw combinations that are 3 and 4 long, you're going to hit every time. You're going to make contact. Yeah, Ozark, I heard you call into a stream before. Yeah, we need to do that, Toxic. Yeah, we need to do that. Well, a lot of the Japanese systems were defensive. A lot of them, especially the Okinawan, because the Okinawans had to fight against samurai. And because of the way the Okinawan weapons were, okay, we're talking about common farm tools that were turned into weapons. We're talking about nunchaku that was used to separate the rice and the wheat, and of course the sai was like a pitchfork, was used to carry stuff. The bow staff was used to carry water. I call it a bow staff just so you understand. In Okinawan style, we just call it a bow, okay? And then of course tonfa was on the handle off a butter churn, and or any kind of a handle was a tonfa. And then of course the kama they used to harvest it. Then that was like a sickle. That's the best way to describe it, guys. Well, those were the basic Okinawan weapons. And of course, the most recent one made famous in Okinawa was a boat oar. You see a lot of kata done with a boat oar. Well, that was because of what Sakagawa did. Sakagawa had to fight a samurai, and he was defending a woman that was being attacked by a samurai. Samurai was going to rape her. So Sakagawa defended this female, and the female threw him a boat oar to defend himself, and that's what made that kata so famous. Was he killed the samurai with a boat oar? So, and Sakagawa trained for 20 years before he was ever in a fight, ever. He had never been in a fight in 20 years of training. But when he came back to Okinawa, he was in one. Oh God, Andrew, I haven't done that kata in so long. I learned it when I was young. I never really learned it completely, but I can get you the name for it. There's many systems that have created a boat or kata, just so you know. Many systems did. And that was to honor Sakagawa. And then you have guys like Musashi Miyamoto, that after he didn't want to fight anymore, he turned to just fighting with a bokken. It was a wooden sword, a very heavy one, but still. And he just wanted to train, and he defeated a lot of samurai with a bokken. He didn't want to fight; he just wanted to learn. But everybody wanted to beat him because they wanted his reputation. The guy ended up dying of old age. I mean, he 60. I think it's 60 or 61 hand-to-hand combats that he never that he won it and never lost. Yeah, it's not the system, guys. No system is better than another. It's the practitioner, and that's what we learned in Texas because there's all different styles. Um, Mike Stone. Mike Stone's a Shorin-ryu stylist like me, but he adopted a lot of techniques that were from other styles, and that's what made him so effective in the ring. Um, Bill Wallace started off in Shorin-ryu. He's a Shorin-ryu stylist. I believe it was Matsubayashi Shorin-ryu, which I have a belt in. And you would never know that by seeing him kickbox. And I had a really cool chance. I trained with him for a couple of years. I have a funny story about Bill Wallace, though. We were in Temple, Texas, and we were at a school, and we did a training session, and he wanted to go out to a bar after. Now, we were in Temple, Texas, and I didn't want to go to a bar. We had a lot of martial artists with, I said, 5 very high-ranking martial artists. I think I was the lowest one there at the time. I think I was a 4th dan at the time. So I was like the lowest one in the group that went. Everybody was higher than me. So we're sitting. I didn't. We walked in, and I said, "Man, I don't want to go into this bar." And I said, "Bill goes, why?" I said, "Because I always get into a fight when I go in a bar. That's why I don't go to bars. Someone always wants to start a fight with me." So he goes, "No." I got 3 steps into that bar, and someone got in my face and was like, "I want to arm wrestle you." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "I just came here for a drink." And we had already reserved the VIP section. So we went up into the VIP section. And I sit down, and and Bill Wallace looks at me and he goes, "You're right." He goes, "Does that happen to you all the time?" I said, "It never fails." So this guy tried to come up and get me to arm wrestle him like 2 or 3 times. He broke through security and got in my face in the VIP section. It was like, "I want to arm wrestle you." And the 3rd time he came up there, Bill looks at me while the guy's in my face, and Bill goes, "Why don't you just arm wrestle him?" He goes, "Take his arm, rip it out of his socket, and beat him to death with it." So, and I looked at him, I'm like, "Really? This is your idea of not getting into a fight?" So security came and pulled him down. And so Bill goes, "Yeah, I want to see you fight." I said, "We just trained for freaking 2 hours. Want to see me fight?" And I said, "Why don't you fight?" And he goes, "No, I ain't never been in a real fight." I go, "You're a 13-time undefeated champion." He goes, "Oh, that was in a ring. I had a referee to save my ass." And I'm like, "Yeah," and I know Bill can fight. Trust me. He was just messing with me. So I won't tell you the rest of that story, but we ended up leaving the bar, and people weren't too happy with us, but we left the bar. So I showed up to the next training session with him, and I had a shirt, And on the shirt it says, I trained with Bill Wallace and all I learned how to do was arm wrestle, and he got a kick out of that. Yeah, Bill can fight. He's got one of the best damn left legs in the world. He only fought with his left side. And it's funny too, he said the one time he ever threw a kick with his right leg, he scored with it, which he always laughed about. But out of his 13 defenses, I think 11 of them were knockouts, or 11 of his knockouts were side kicks to the body, not even to the head, because everybody was figuring he was going to kick him to the head. So he would just launch this sick side kick right into their body and just end it. And let me tell you something. When you I trained with Bill up until he was in his, he was 70 last time I trained with him. And he could still put welts on your head. I remember having this big knot on my forehead from eating one of his heel kicks. And I remember sitting with him after we're working out, and I got this egg on my head, and he's looking at me, he goes, "Hurts like hell, doesn't it, Steve?" And I'm like, "Not now, but it will by the morning." Hey, Z Zimmer. Yes, Jesus is alive and well. Jesus is awesome. Are you kidding me? He's my savior. I am a Messianic Jew, in case you didn't know. Messianic Jew is a Jew that loves and believes in Jesus Christ and knows Jesus being the Son of God. Yes, I may be a Jew, but I am a Messianic Jew. And in case you didn't know, the apostles were all Jews. That's awesome, Z. I've seen a lot of healings in Jesus' name. It's awesome. Matter of fact, I tried to tell Toxic this, okay? Because Toxic, after he had busted my nose in a match, I'm like, "You broke it, you fix it." So he's putting my nose back together, and I could hear this thing clicking and clacking, and he's yanking on it to get it back into place. And I know Toxic was praying while he was setting it. We fought 3 more rounds, and when we went later to have Shabbat dinner and we broke bread, and I'm over there wiggling my nose, and I'm like, "Damn it!" I go, "Toxic, were you praying when you put my nose back in?" He goes, "Yeah, man, I was praying it wasn't permanent." And I'm like, "Cause it's not hurting." And I got a picture of my nose. It was all bent over and it was bleeding, so I know it was busted, but it wasn't broken. An hour later, it was healed. So I understand completely. Yeah, your dad put a lot of noses back into place. That was fun. Oh my God, I'm so glad I got to meet your dad, Toxic. I am so glad. Matter of fact, that's how I met Toxic. Was I was interviewing his dad during his Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and I'm going to tell this. I've told this story before, and I'm going to say it again. We were at a fight class, and his dad was out puffing on a cigar. I know I had a crooked Jew nose. Yeah, if it healed crooked, no, it healed straight, guys. I don't have a deviated septum. He put it back into place perfect, and it was healed. But there was this funny story. We were at a fight class at world famous Joy Turbeville. I talk about her a lot. Joy Turbeville was ranked in the top 10 in the late 60s and early 70s, and she was ranked in the top 10 amongst the men for bare knuckle fighting. She fought men, okay? And she was an amazing fighter. Well, we were at her school for a fight class. Toxic's dad was outside. Yeah, your dad was her instructor. Toxic's dad was outside smoking a cigar, because all good guys smoke a cigar. I'm just saying. And this guy ate a heel kick, and he ate it bad, and he was out cold, and he was just foaming, and he locked up stiff, and he was snoring. So Toxic goes outside and gets his dad. Say, "Dad, we can't wake this guy up. He's knocked out pretty bad." So he puts his cigar out and walks in. And when his dad walked in, oh my God, I'm over there watching. I get right down next to his dad. His dad's waking him up, and his dad starts massaging his jaw. And I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, this will loosen it up. This will help him start to breathe." And this family was there, and they were going to sign their kid up for classes, and they're sitting there with this look in their face, like they got this deer. Yeah, I know they'd all include stories. Well, these people have like this deer in the headlights look. They couldn't believe what they saw. And they said, like, does this happen here a lot? And Toxic goes, in a real school it does. And just then, without missing a beat, his dad turns around and goes, you should see when they shit themselves. Like, needless to say, those people never signed their kid up for class. So that was funny. So that was the last time I got to hang out with Toxic's dad before he passed away. But oh my god, that will stick in my mind for the rest of my life. Yeah. Now, when Joy was first training, she trained under Grandmaster David Moon. When David Moon left the United States and went to Mexico and started training in Mexico, um, I believe it was then that Toxic's dad took over her training. And David Moon, talk about one of, oh my God, what an amazing martial artist he is. Still to this day, an amazing martial artist. I was so fortunate to be able to do an interview with him. Guys, this is one of the big things that I brag about. I am the only person in the world. I think one other person interviewed him, but it was overseas. I know I'm the only person in the United States ever to get an interview with Grandmaster David Moon. And what a treat that was. It was at an event that was there to, um, it was kind of an honoring event. And they were honoring Grandmaster Ed Daniels. Um, they were honoring a few other people, but mostly it was, truth be told, it was there for Grandmaster Ed Daniels, which is another guy I'm so glad I got an interview with. He's a great man. He is my idol. He was my hero when I was growing up because he was a big guy like me. I mean, he was 265 pounds. Well, Grandmaster is anything over seventh degree. I think in some styles is considered Grandmaster, but most it's eighth degree and above is Grandmaster. I think it's seventh in Taekwondo. I'm not a grandmaster, guys. Just so you know, I'm a senior master, but I'm not a grandmaster. No, no. I'm just. I consider myself a shodan, and that's all. I have ranks in other systems, but stripes on belts really means not much to me. They don't mean anything. And I know people have been trying to get me for 10 years to test for my seventh dan, and I'm like, I don't need another stripe. Shihan at my school was almost grandmaster, but his opponent got a small paper cut. What was you saying now? Yeah, I got some black belts under me. Yeah, but like I said, I don't need another stripe. It's not important to me. Because we go to fight class. No one wears their stripes at fight class because your stripes don't mean anything. I've been in the ring with people lower ranked than me that clean the floor with me. It really doesn't mean anything. So this is why I didn't understand why the guy earlier was in there trying to say I was some kind of tough guy. It's like, really? No, I know what I can do. I know what I have done. That's all. I was never a world champion ever. And like I said, I won a few tournaments and best, best answer. That's bad. Oh, really, Z Zimmer? Good night, man. Thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate it. Keep on having to touch the screen because I lean forward, it goes out of focus. Guys, this cigar is coming to an end. This is another big cigar. Look how long it's lasted, an hour and a half. But I have the pipe, so I am. When this gets down too low, it's going in the pipe, and I'll finish it in the pipe because this is a good cigar. I ain't wasting this one. What do you mean? Was the few Korean? God, Grandmaster David Moon. It's funny. When I interviewed him, I was kind of teasing him a little bit because he's trying to play himself down. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. Toxic. Yeah, it was. He was trying to play down. Oh, I wasn't a great fighter and all this. And I'm like, yeah, I remember the tournament in the late '60s where you broke Pat Burleson's ribs in the fight. And he goes, yeah. What about it? And I'm like, well, you're over here telling me how peaceful you are. I remember seeing you kick the living crap out of someone. He goes, yeah, well, you didn't see how much he hit me. Because I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen Grandmaster Pat Burleson fight, but he had one of the worst open hand strikes in the world. He would come over the top of your arms and just crash down on your arms with his hands, his shudo. And he would come down on your arms and then just go in and start just driving them into you. And he was so good at it. He would mess up your OODA loop with low kicks, and then he would come and crash over the top of your arms with those hands and just open you up. I mean, just I loved watching him fight. And one of the hardest things to deal with right now is that he's not doing too well. He's pretty sick right now, and man, what an amazing guy. Like I said, guys, when I got into sports radio, it was because of him. He made the phone calls to get me in touch with the right people. He was so gracious to do the interview with me, invited me to his house. I went to his house, took me inside like he knew me his whole life. We talked. We went out to his dojo, which is a beautiful dojo. It's on the side of a hill next to his house. It's built into the hill. Beautiful open side dojo, traditional looking. And we did the interview there. What what a great man! I have his cover from Karate Illustrated, where he's on the cover and he signed it for me, and he wrote on underneath it, "See you at the top." And I didn't understand because I was just starting off. I didn't understand what he meant, and literally because of what he did, my show was actually featured on iTunes at the time, like twice, two or three times, like on the front page because of him. He got the show I was doing. Like we would produce a podcast and put it on iTunes, and that podcast was heard in 114 countries. I used to get letters from all over the world, and it was so amazing. What a time in my life. I will never forget that time in my life. And the one thing that he taught me when I was interviewing him was I learned how to interview because of him. Because he pulled me aside after the interview was over and he said, Steve, I like what you're doing. I like your style. And he said, now here's how you talk with the big names in Texas. And he sat down with me and he walked me through how you talk with them. He goes, this is going to get you the best interviews. He goes, it'll make this good interview that you did today even better. And I followed his advice, and I was getting interviews with big names. At the time, anybody know Cynthia Rothrock? Well, I mean, these people, I have their phone numbers. I call them. I talk with them. Cynthia did it was funny. She did a live broadcast with me, and for whatever reason, our recorder didn't work, so I couldn't post it to the podcast. So what she did was the next week she came on again and recorded the interview so I could post it. How many people would do that? She's such a nice person, such an amazing person. And she's another person that interviewed me to people, and I was able to interview Don the Dragon Wilson, because of her. I was, like I said, I interviewed a lot of just great people because of her. And they springboarded me into being able to do ringside fight commentary. And I'm very, very fortunate for it. Guys, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stay out here. I know I'm down to the nub on this. I'm about ready to put it in the pipe, but I might not. I think I might just go inside and relax for the night. Because we're already an hour and a half into this, and this cigar is literally, I lit this up and turned and hit play on the live stream. So, and you can see I'm down to the nub now. And yeah, it's getting late too. A lot of people aren't in here anymore. So, see, Bob Wall's another one. I interviewed Bob Wall. Oh my God, is he funny? I've met him a couple of times. I met him at the WCL events, and I hung out with him in the VIP before we did the show and everything. He's another great guy. He more than willing to come on the stream. And because I was doing the fight classes in Texas and who I was fighting with, he was like, "Holy cow, Steve, you fight those people?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I fight those people." And he goes, "Okay, well, just knowing that you get in the ring with some of those guys, I understand you. You know what I mean?" So that was a cool experience, and I still have clips from his interviews and stuff where he talked about my radio show and everything, and it was just really cool getting to meet these guys. In case you guys don't know who Bob Wall is, he played O'Hara in Enter the Dragon and was in a couple of movies. I think one or two movies with Bruce Lee. Good friends with Bruce Lee. I would love to dig up the old interview with Pat Burleson too, because Pat Burleson also trained with Bruce Lee, and he had some cool stories that you never heard before, that he told me that have never been published in Black Belt magazines. Interactions he had with Bruce Lee. I remember an interview I got when Grandmaster Roy Kerbin invited me to his dojo. He invited me to his dojo because they had Jim Harrison was teaching a seminar there for police, and also George Bray was there, and James Toney was there. So these guys, I mean, I knew a little bit about Roy Kerbin at the time. He knew me just a little bit. These guys invited me out to dinner after, and I hung out with them. And man, some of the stories that were being passed along, James Toney and Jim Harrison talking to me about when they had Bruce Lee come to their school and stuff like that. It was really cool. Wow, I missed a lot of that stuff that came in there. You mean Bill Wallace, not Bob Wallace? Are you talking about Bob Wall? You mixed two names in there. You're talking about Bob Wall or Bill Wallace? You got the two names mixed, Fred. Yeah, Uncle Jim. Yeah, I know you call him Uncle Jim. I don't think people get it. Yeah, Bob Wall is a great guy. You know, good fighter too. Good fighter. I remember he was boasting about how he beat Roy Kerbin when Roy Kerbin was like 19 years old. And Roy Kerbin just cleaned his clock when they fought again. When Roy Kerbin became of age, so to speak, in martial arts, just cleaned his clock. I don't think anybody. I mean, Roy Kerbin, Grandmaster Roy Kerbin could hit you and you didn't even know you got hit. You felt your head spin around on your shoulders, and it's like you did. All you saw was his knee come up a little bit, and you heard the slap, the meat report of that foot hitting your face. And I don't think the judges knew how to score it because they didn't see his foot move. They didn't see anything. The guy was amazing. Another guy who I interviewed, Skipper Mullins. He was the one that I was trying to remember that fought against Chuck Norris. And Skipper Mullins had an extremely fast kick, one of the fastest kicks in the world. And there's a great video of him fighting Chuck Norris bare knuckle, and he comes flying at him with a flying side kick, and Chuck Norris just stepped to the side and just folded him half with a ridge hand. You have to understand, I mean, one thing that I hear about all the guys that fought Chuck Norris back in the day, and Skipper Mullins will still tell you he beat Chuck Norris, but he got robbed. But all these guys, all they had to say about Chuck Norris was his timing. His timing to be a because he was a really good counter striker. His timing was better than anybody else out there. He could sit and watch a technique come at him, and just his timing was impeccable. And that's how he won a lot. Guys, I'm about ready to call it. We're on an hour and 40 minutes. I think I'm going to change the name of the stream to Martial Arts Talk, because that's really all the stream has been, is martial arts talk. And it's all because of Andrew. Andrew, who I know has started his Brazilian Jiu Jitsu training quite a few months ago. Andrew, how long, if you're still in here, Andrew, how long have you been training now? I think you've been training for about 4 or 5 months. Andrew, have you been about 4 or 5 months now you've been training? Yeah, Bob Wall was in Bruce Lee movies. 4 months, yeah. Yeah, and I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. You seem to have a really good instructor. Everything I hear from him I agree with, so that's nice. Not that I'm the authority on this, but I know a good school when I hear it. Oh, okay. Very cool. Yeah, it's tough finding a good school. I used to do some of the shows that I did was people would ask me how do I find a good school? And and I would give them certain things like red flags to look for. Like if this is what's happening at this school, don't go to that school. Like if the black belts literally can't fight, why are you going to go to the school? If your school doesn't fight at all, they just train, I wouldn't go to it. Because and here's another one. If your instructor has never been in a real fight, don't learn from him. How the hell is he going to teach you how to fight if he's never been in one? Don't go to that school. Just don't. That's kind of like going to a swimming instructor that doesn't know how to swim and never goes in the pool. He just teaches you the motions on the outside of the pool. Don't do it. Yeah, and if there's no cut kit in that school, don't go to it. I'm just telling you, you're not going to learn how to fight properly. A good school is going to allow you to fight in the ring. And look, it's not an all out brawl, but they're going to take you to that level just before, just as close as they can get you to the level of a real fight. They're going to take you right up to that line, and that's where you're going to train because you need to learn how to react in a real situation, or else it's no good. Well, geez, toxic. You look. When we did fight class, if someone wasn't snoring on the floor or if we weren't patching someone up, we didn't feel like it was a real fight class. How many times, Toxic, did we have to wake someone off the floor? How many times in your fight class? How many times? I can't remember a fight class where someone wasn't bleeding or someone was on the floor just snoring away. Yeah. And it's funny because every time someone ate the floor and they were out, it was like, now it's a fight class. I like Krav Maga. It's very raw though, very raw, and it's cool. There's nothing wrong. Like I said, there's no bad system. There's only bad teachers and bad practitioners. There's no bad system because if you're actually taking it to that level just before it turns into an actual street brawl, you're going to get to that level. If it's not going to that level, you shouldn't go there because you're not going to learn how to really fight. Like if you're doing line drills and where you step 10 steps one way, 10 steps the other way, and you're throwing a real punch and the person's really blocking it and really throwing a counter. If in those 10 steps you're not getting the wind knocked out of you, you're not hitting hard enough. You need to get the wind knocked out of you on a regular basis. 4 or 5 times in 4 or 5 times in that session, you better have the wind knocked out of you, or else it's not going to do you any good. And here's another one in here, Beer Jew. I know he trains in MMA and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. He understands exactly what I'm talking about. You've got to really fight. You've got to make hits. You've got to know what it's like to feel hit because if you get into a fight and you don't know what it's like to be hit, the first time you get hit, fear is going to set in. You've got to understand that. Now, Andrew, you're going to get brought into that slowly. You're not going to show up the first day and get the snot beat out of you. They're going to take you at your level, little by little. Okay, and you're not even going to realize that you're. That's the cool thing about this, Andrew. You're not even going to realize that you're fighting hard. It's going to happen, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, "Whoa, I'm really fighting. I'm really fighting." And then if you ever get into a street fight, everything is going to look like it's in slow motion. You want to know why? Because you're comfortable in that environment. You're used to working with your blood pressure being at that level, 140 to 150, and you're able to function because you start going above 150 and you start to lose, the motor skills start to deteriorate. And what happens after that, if you don't have muscle memory, that's when you get into trouble. Yeah, hard sparring. Well, here's the thing, Bear Jew. Hard sparring is the best. But I think it takes a little bit of brain damage to even want to do this. That's how it is. If you, I think you have to be a little brain damaged to do what we do. You know? Oh man, I love this stream. I'm really enjoying this, but I have to call this one, guys. So yeah, pastry. Yeah, you're definitely brain damaged. I ask this question when I do a lot of interviews, and I'm like, "What made you do it?" I remember the last big interview I did was with, oh my God, I love this guy so much. And I don't know if he wants me to, I guess I can. Phil Wileman, Grandmaster Phil Wileman, when he got promoted, his last big promotion, I got a chance. And we had been trying to do the interview for like, oh God, 3 or 4 years, and it just didn't work out. And I finally got a chance. And let me tell you something. Phil Wileman is one of the greatest guys I know. Grandmaster. He used to come to our fight classes, and he would sit with me and he'd be like, okay, Steve, you're doing this right. You're doing this right. Try this, try that. And he just helps fine tune everything you're doing. Well, Fred, the whole thing about being afraid to fight the person that you're fighting, you don't want to hurt them. Um, that comes with training. And the coolest thing I ever saw was when someone's going up for black belt and they have you fighting black belt after black belt and you guys are just slugging it out. All of a sudden they'll stick like a low ranking green belt against you. And you have to be able to take all that adrenaline that you just got from fighting these black belts and cut it back and be able to fight this green belt and teach him while you're fighting him. And that's part of your black belt test. If you don't have control of that, you're probably not going to get your black belt. If you hurt a green belt, you're not going to get your black belt. Yeah. Oh God, Bearchew, how many times you get broken ribs in training? I can't begin to tell you how many times. Broken ribs. I had my jaw dislocated twice. 5 concussions. Scott's the only one. That people have hit me really hard like that. But I mean, even take someone like toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is the only one that's ever broken my nose. So yeah, that's out of all those years, yeah, he's the only one that's ever broken my nose. Yeah, keep your hands up. You see me being a reactive fighter, I didn't keep my hands up as much until I fought here in Texas. Then I knew to keep my hands up. Guys, I'm gonna call it. It's been a really really fun stream. We're starting to lose people because it is getting late, and yeah, there's my dojo, guys. You guys have seen this before. I have a lot of stuff piled up on the wall. But yeah, those are all my weapons that I train in. And I got some stuff on the floor because I've been moving stuff in here, but the floor is all matted. You can see it. But guys, yeah. Oh, you're going to call me after? Okay, man. Good night, everyone. Hey, take care, everyone, and God bless. Have a great evening and the rest of your weekend. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.